Good morning, Cloud Native community, and welcome to London, England. We're here on day one of KubeCon CloudNativeCon. My name's Savannah Peterson. Delighted to be joined by my favorite analysts, Rob and Paul. Thank you so much for coming to hang out today, gentlemen. Big day, keynote, it's packed out there. Lots of people, very excited to break it all down. You told me the core themes you've heard today are all about observability.
Yeah,
Dig in a little bit, Rob.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was one of the big things that really launched off the stage this morning was a lot of how things have gotten more complex, and you have to really instrument properly your code to collect the data, to observe it, and how AI is going to play a role in that. And I think, Paul, you were seeing some stuff around that as well in your conversations.
Absolutely. There's a lot on observability, lots of observability vendors that are out there today. There's it kind of dovetails.
There are actually quite a few on the floor,
right behind
us.
Us.
Yeah.
And it dovetails nicely into our research, right? We found in our recent research, 75% of studies of the respondents indicated that they're using 6 to 15 different observability tools, and they want to consolidate.
Whoa.
Yeah, so that's a lot. It dovetails nicely into this, right?
Yeah.
So lots happening here. Yeah.
No, there is a lot happening here. I mean, largest open source conference in, well, we're not in Europe, we're in the UK, but in this part of the world, I should say. And so the conversation is always really different. I mean, we go to all the Cloud Native KubeCon events between North America and here, and I love it. I mean, it's buzzing. The one thing I love about this community the most, actually, selfishly, is it's kind of like a family reunion. There's so many people, oh my gosh, I'm just looking right now, it looks like they're about to cut the tape to let everybody in, and so it is gonna get packed in here, y'all. And it's just great to bring together minds and see how much progress we've made. And the conversation, I believe, has really evolved, particularly in the last 5 years. I mean, Kubernetes doubling in age over that time period. But quite frankly, a lot of the companies behind us, and particularly in observability, maturing a lot. Rob, I know you were also in day 0 yesterday.
Yeah.
Platform engineering, AI for Kubernetes. What were some of your takeaways from that?
Yeah, so I mean, I hit data on Kubernetes, where I'm actually doing a panel later today here.
I know, can't
which
wait.
will be interesting to see how that turns out.
Be sure and check it out, y'all.
Yes, 2:30 British Standard, summertime, not standard time. BST threw me off, but
it could be summertime. I'm ready for summertime.
Well, it's British summertime. And it does feel like it outside for British summer. Not raining today, but
the sun is out.
The sun is out. It's windy. But when you start to look at what was going on yesterday, platform engineering, observability, data on Kubernetes, cloud native, Kubernetes, and AI, the big themes coming out of it was that there's just so much more. So the underpinnings are, as we've said at other KubeCons, Cloud Native Cons, the underpinnings of Kubernetes is pretty mature. It is. How do you innovate on top of that now, and how do you get cloud native applications, and we're still talking about digital transformation, 20 years in.
Quite literally,
yes.
It's still you just hit it, change management, big part of this, but a big part of the stack. Paul, this is your wheelhouse. You are the king of app dev, quite literally. So I'm so excited to do the show with you this week, and I'm curious, what are you most excited to learn? Who are you most excited to meet with?
Yeah, absolutely, Savannah. So when I look at day 0 yesterday, the events I attended, which were the Red Hat events and the Google events that were happening yesterday, lots. Echoing what Rob was talking about with innovation, digital transformation is a theme, right? Monetization is definitely top of mind for most CIOs. The thing about monetization, it's a treadmill. Once you start, you don't stop, right?
Yes, it is.
And you just continue to go. But the two major barriers that I'm seeing from the conversations is complexity and skill gap issues. Those are the two main things that we're seeing.
Still talking about complexity. This has always been the conversation around Kubernetes.
It is. And one of the things I'm actually really excited about for this week is the CNCF is coming out with their cloud native study. That a lot of research there.
I can't wait to dig into that with you. That's going to be fun.
Awesome, right?
Yeah.
And then Dapper, who's coming on Friday, they also did their study for the state of Dapper, highlighting the adoption trends. What's interesting about that is they had 220 respondents. 96% of the respondents indicated that they're saving a ton of money on using these platforms for cloud native applications. But two main takeaways: increase of diversity of applications and across platforms and multiple clouds. Not a surprise, multiple clouds, but what we found in our research is 96% of organizations are using 2 or more clouds. 65% are using 4 or more clouds.
Whoa!
Right, so harmonizing across clouds is important, right?
That's more clouds than even in London.
I don't know about that. I mean, that's
we'll see how the week goes.
Trip.
Yeah.
At least on this trip.
Today it's
so far,
okay.
So good. Yeah.
The other thing that was a real big takeaway, I thought, that I'm really going to unpack this week is the continuing growth across multiple languages, right? When you look at Rust and Go and all the different languages, that's really a big part of it. Because as you know, in my practice, I focus on past, present, and future and building the bridge between the past and the present. That's where I think it's going to be a big push.
Yeah, it feels like we're at a bit of a inflection point where you're either going to take your rocket ship off the launch pad or maybe not make it along that journey when it comes to this adoption.
Yeah, I think so. I also think that there's a major desire by organizations not to eliminate the silos.
Yes.
And that's what I think is this harmonization of platforms is really coming down. And what we were talking about earlier about 6 to 15 different observability tools. In 2025, 54% of those respondents indicated that they want to have a unified platform moving forward.
Which makes sense.
Totally does. Reduce complexity.
Exactly.
Right?
Comes back to
and
our
skill
core
gap
point.
issues. So.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that you just touched on and was interesting in Platform Engineering Day yesterday, in particular, they talked a lot about the actual functions and the process, to your point about breaking down silos, and how people are organizing. In fact, at dinner last night, a massive UK bank and I were talking, and their head of platform engineering was there, and we were having this conversation around the difficulties they're having with getting the right people, and how do they get across the skills gaps, and how do they really focus, because to your point, they're also scaling back the number of tools, and they're looking for more of a platform approach.
Less chaos,
to observability.
more ROI, I think is definitely a theme.
And they're looking at, they can't find the people, so a big theme that we'll hear this week is automation.
So just out of curiosity, because that's a really cool anecdote, what, if you don't mind sharing, what types of people are they specifically looking for? What's that craving?
Yeah, so I'll go and then you can go, and then I think they're craving people who, it was interesting. At one of the sessions yesterday, they were talking about the people who make ideal platform engineers are not your typical people. They're the people who are very intuitive, or very, not necessarily intuitive, but they really like to dig in and really focus down. So almost to your neuro-spicy aspect, they people who like think differently about these, because it's not really. So
you're saying I should go apply for a new job?
I think you could get one.
Well, speaking of a new job, I'll give you a shiny quarter if you can find me somebody on the floor that identifies as a storage admin or a network admin or a virtualization admin. Nobody does.
Great point.
Nobody
Paul.
does. It's platform engineering, right?
Yeah.
And
100%.
I think the other main factor is, and again, I'm an analyst. I talk about data all the time. What we find in research, 67% of respondents in our recent survey indicating that they're hiring IT generalists over specialists.
Yes.
And the reason why is because, not that they don't want specialists.
Cool, that's a great data point.
They can't find them.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
But they also...
So they're kind of making do with the resources available versus being able to drill down and specialize that way.
Yes, and I know you have a comment, but one of the things I do want to add is organizations are pushing back on vendors to reduce complexity and having a generalist do the deployment. Now, I do have a follow-on, but go ahead.
No, I think that was it, and I think that's where people were saying AI is coming in, is because the expertise is just not there for that. But
so, interesting point on AI. This is on a skill gap issue. What we're also seeing is there's a lack of hiring new college hires and using AI to do that job. But here's the risk, and this is what I'll tell you.
Do you have data to support that?
I do.
That's wild.
And here's the risk with this is, how do you get a seasoned developer and engineer
if they never had to start?
If they don't start.
Yeah.
So it's not now, it's 5 years from now when you're looking for an experienced developer who's educating and training them, and every organization is looking for somebody else to do that.
Oh my gosh.
So think about that when it comes to AI.
We're going to have to keep talking about that all week, because that's actually pretty fascinating. You're just a data machine, by the way. I've loved every data drop you've done in the last few seconds. But I think that is actually quite interesting. You know, we think about how it's going to change work, what it's going to do. We talk about productivity, we talk about purpose, creativity, all of these lovely things. on the flip side, if you're losing out on a generation of folks who are then going to have to maintain, build, and architect these next tech stacks, well, they got to learn.
They have to learn.
They have to learn. Wow, that is actually super compelling. I'm going to be noodling on that all day long, I can tell. What company are you most excited to interview this week, Rob? We have a great lineup, say, so you don't have to pick a favorite child. But I was going to also say
we also have a lot of customers who are going to be on as well. So I think it's the mix of customers and companies that are coming on board that will be a lot of fun, because I think I always learn. I think again, Red Hat always brings to the table some really interesting people from that are not their typical spokespeople, which I love. That they can get nerd out here, which is wonderful.
This is one of the nerdier shows we go to, and I cherish that.
Yeah, yeah. But I think there's a lot of great companies from, AWS. We're going to have on Google. We're going to have on a number of others.
Roku. Yeah. Roku. One of the things I like is we get to see companies of varying size and maturity at this show, and I think that's actually really refreshing, because you've got the super eager, innovative builders trying to disrupt or build those observability tools like you were just mentioning. And then you've also got these hyperscalers who are a part of this community because they've been using these tools that these people are building. So it really is a fusion in a way. And plus all the projects. I mean, geez, who am I to not acknowledge the 100+ projects that are here?
Yeah, well, Savannah, that's actually a really good point. I mean, this is the space of app dev. 70% of the companies I talk to are in the emerging space, and 30% are the established companies. Right. So you have this paradigm shift of like the big players making the moves, but all these emerging companies coming up, just innovating and driving new ways of doing things, which is really cool.
It is really cool. Yeah. I'm excited to go around and learn, talk to our friends. Yes. This is where the swag segment started. We know there's going to be great swag on the show floor. Not going to lie, and very, very keen to see what the conversation is. They just opened the gates. Oh, this is so fun. This is always one of my favorite moments. Everyone gets to come in and start playing around and learning. I got to have a really fun moment yesterday that I'm just going to low-key brag about. So my day zero, I actually got to go hang out on that floating yacht that isn't far from here for an event with Portainer. And it's actually Neil Creswell, the CEO of Portainer. He is the individual responsible for why I'm sitting here on this news desk right now. He is the person who taught me all about containers, taught me all about Kubernetes before I even knew what that word meant. And it was such a great moment, because we started working together in the very day zero of the pandemic, from our laptops on Zoom, depressed in our respective homes, isolated from everyone, and to be at their event, which was oversubscribed, standing room only yesterday on a yacht. Yeah. Talk about a glow up. And it's not just my personal story with Neil, although I'm grateful, love you, Neil, and team, and Jeff, but also it tells you where the industry is in terms of the maturation. And it felt like, wow, like we're growing up.
I will tell you that some of the other events that were happening last night were also waitlisting. So there was a big push.
Okay, so it was all over. So everyone, we don't see that at a lot of events. No. Yeah. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
I mean, respectfully.
Even yesterday, OpenShift Commons, which is free, but you have to sign up for, was oversubscribed.
Yes.
And it had a wait list a month ago.
Yes.
What?
A month ago.
They asked me if I wasn't going to attend to come off the list.
Right, exactly.
No way.
So it's just this, I mean, Europe brings out a lot of the developers and a lot of that kind of like just intense passion about it. And again, we get to have Intuit on talking about one of, you don't think of Intuit and think of, hey, Kubernetes, but they're coming on to talk about one of the projects they're contributing back to. I think what will be fun.
Lisa Marie was just in my DMs about that. That's so funny you bring that up.
Don't get me started about WASM too, but anyways.
Oh, hey.
But I think, there's going to be a lot about security this week. There's going to be a lot about AI, a lot about platform engineering, and a lot about observability. I think those are the 4 big themes we'll see this week. And
I think you're right.
We have a lot of unpacking to do.
Yes, we do. Question for you. Okay, so you brought this up, that I love that network admin piece that you brought up earlier. What do you think we won't be talking about in addition to that this week that we have talked about previously? Paul, I'll ask you first.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you're looking for that shiny quarter, right?
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things that I don't think we're probably going to de-emphasize is the the issues of how applications are not kind of trending towards modernizing. So what I mean by that is a lot of organizations are showing what they have that's addressing greenfield opportunities. But very few organizations talk about it from a brownfield opportunity, but in the reality of it is most organizations, most companies out there have brownfield opportunities, right? They're not greenfield.
That's actually a good point.
Yeah, and if you put in only a greenfield approach, you're going to put a silo in an organization, and that's going to be a problem. So when I'm talking to vendors, I kind of tell them, look at it in the context of where organizations are trying to go to and where they're coming from. So think about the past and the future and how to blend it together and bridge that gap. That's what I think is happening, and that's what I think is going to be more focused on than less focused on just like the monolithic things.
I think that's a really good point. It's no surprise that a lot of the folks in here have you as an analyst for them, given that insight. But no, I love that you brought that up. I'm excited. I'm excited to see our guests. We're going to also have an accessibility segment on. We always feature, we're featuring the BIPOC group, Deaf and Hard of Hearing. Really excited to tell that story later this afternoon. We've got over 40 interviews for y'all this week, probably about 60 fantastic guests, plus you get to hang out with Rob, Paul, and I. So I look forward to it. Thank you both for being here, for making the trek and fighting the good fight on the jet lag. And thank all of you for tuning in to our 3 days of power-packed coverage here at KubeCon CloudNativeCon in London, England. My name's Savannah Peterson. You're watching theCUBE, the leading source for enterprise tech news.